to its fullest capacity. So he
Oh.
kind of stumbled in one day, and long story short, we partnered up with him. So he now offers sport-specific athletic training out of our facility, mostly football. He does a little bit of soccer, a little bit of baseball. So he has like 4 full-time trainers that are there all the time. So it's been really fun to just learn from him and learn like the sport-specific stuff. And then it's also cool because there are certain clients that come in the door that think they want athletic training. You know, they think they want sport-specific training, but really they could be better suited with P90X or Insanity. So we've been able to really utilize each other's strengths. And so that's fun. So that's brand new as of October. So that's going really well, and it's allowing me to be a little bit more free with my schedule and not have to be up there all the time. So nice.
You guys didn't already see her perfect little Ellery nugget. She's so cute.
I know.
She's so cute. And she kept this I knew she was trying and working towards being a mommy, and it was a total shocker when I found out all about Ellery. As to the world, you guys kept that under wraps. Which
nobody knew it. So
yeah.
But yeah, this is my 4th call for today, and you guys, it just happens that she goes to bed at like 6:30. So she's asleep in the other room, but the other calls, like she was not letting me, like I would start talking on the calls and she would either start babbling or she would start crying. And so finally I was like, I'm just going to pick her up and put her in my lap. So I led 2 of the calls, and so I was leading the other ones this afternoon, and I was actually live streaming on Facebook, and I was in this elite coach's Facebook page. And so I'm like going over this like team cup training. I'm like, I'm really sorry. Hang on one second. So I pick her up and I sit her in my lap, and about halfway through the live stream, Ellery picked up on the fact that she could see herself like on the camera. Like she's obsessed with her reflection. So she went from being like her face was kind of like, like she's real upset. And then all of a sudden she like caught herself, and all of a sudden she's into it, really involved in her hands right now. Like she really likes to do this. So she started like,
that's so
like doing this, and then she started like laughing at herself. So I don't even really think anybody cared about my content. I think they were just like, oh my gosh, the cutest baby ever.
Right.
Sorry she couldn't be here for this. But
I know. Sounds like she'll be the perfect Beachbody coach.
I know. I told Chris, I was like, she's already liking the selfies. So
right.
Great start.
And then I have that mastermind group with Rihanna, Greta, and Meredith, and Emily and Julie. So if any of them kind of trickle in, that's why.
Okay.
But to respect your time, especially since you've had many calls today, and I would imagine you'd want some cuddles with your husband or the pillow or whatever, feel free to kick it off and share what you need to share.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Maria. I'm excited to be here and talk to you guys. I had actually reached out to Maria to see if she would be willing to talk on my team call. So I'm excited that we could exchange talents and exchange opportunities here. So I'm excited you guys are here. I want to talk to you a little bit about the power of the Facebook post and inviting. Hopefully this is good timing because it is Team Cup month. So hopefully you guys are on a Team Cup team. So hopefully you can kind of use this information to your advantage when it comes to strategizing for February. I can't believe we're already a week into February. It's already a short month. It feels like it's already flying by. But hopefully this is still valuable enough for you to go ahead and start applying now. So I have a PowerPoint, and I was really like torn between whether or not I wanted to use it or not, because sometimes like my coaches and my team, they tell me that they like me to use PowerPoint if I want them to take notes, but they don't like me to use PowerPoint if they want me to listen and if I'm motivating. Well, since this is more of like a content thing, I am going to share the PowerPoint just in case you want to jot notes down, but I'm not going to be able to see you very well. Like right now I can see you, but as soon as I share my screen, it's going to make it tricky. So if you guys have any questions, just unmute yourself. Okay. So let me click on, slideshow. Okay. So I want to talk specifically about, exactly what it is you're talking about on Facebook. I really feel like my business has been centered around attraction marketing. You'll see if you follow me on Facebook, and I know Maria's the same way. I have a very distinct voice, a very distinct personality on my social media. I'm definitely speaking to a certain niche of people. I've had people actually reach out to me, especially the more successful that I've gotten with Beachbody, the more people I've had reach out to me to tell me that they don't like what I have to say, which really, in my opinion, means that I'm on the right track, because it means that there is someone out there that's like, dang, I love that girl. So that's the whole point. And so I want to talk to you guys specifically about how what you're saying and how you're saying it on your social media matters. At the end of the day, I want you to come away with it thinking, okay, if nothing else, I now know that every time I make a Facebook post, my content matters. And I want to ask myself the question, does this post add value to other people in some way? Is it making them laugh? Is it making them cry? Is it making them emotionally connect in some way? Is it making them act, right? But every single time you make a post, it should be having an effect on the people that you're talking to. So Maria already gave my introduction, so I'm going to skip right over that. So my top tips for you today are these three things. So again, these are the three major things I want you to come away with. Number one, we have to emotionally connect in our social media, in our content. So whether it's happy, whether it's sad, doesn't matter. There has to be some sort of emotional connection. We must also offer value, and we have to be consistent. So all three of these things matter when we talk about what it is that we're putting out there into the social world. It's been my experience with, I have a team of over 500 coaches. It's been my experience when I see new coaches come on board. I like to let them know that in the beginning, when you first start making social media posts, you're going to hear a lot of crickets. There's going to be people that are like, who's this girl and what is she doing? Why is she all of a sudden posting her kale salad? Like, she just posted that Domino's last Friday, right? So when you're a new coach, it takes a little bit of time for people to get used to you and to, kind of get a feel for you and your brand. But what I've found in my experience is that as you go and as you continue to be consistent in your posting and as you continue to establish your brand, people will actually care less about your personal life and more about what you have to offer in the business world. So for me, obviously people are kind of obsessed with my baby at the moment. But prior to the baby existing, I could make a post about what Chris and I were doing on a Friday night, and I would get like decent visibility and decent exposure, decent likes. Right. But then all of a sudden I post an invitation to a challenge group, and I actually got really great, reciprocated stuff, like a lot of likes, a lot of comments, a lot of shares. So I think that's interesting, because when I first started, I would make a post like that and people were like, whatever. Now I make a post like that and it's what they want to hear from me. If I stopped inviting people to a challenge group, they would wonder what was wrong with me. Right. They would wonder if I was like in the hospital or something. So that's what I want to share with you, because I don't know. I'm sure we have all ends of the spectrum that are going to listen to this, new coaches, experienced coaches. So I just want you to know that that's why consistency matters. So when you're writing your actual Facebook post, so nothing that I'm going to share with you takes the place of a conversation, right? So private messenger is still, I believe, where most of your business takes place. This, what we're talking about tonight, is just sort of like the storefront of your business, what your actual Facebook page looks like. So when you're writing a Facebook post, you have to consider a few different things. You have to consider who you're talking to. And I don't just mean like generally speaking, I want you to picture who you're talking to. I recently finished Chalene Johnson's Marketing Impact Academy, which is perfection. And in that, she has us do an activity where we have to actually create an avatar. So in other words, we have to know, she wants us to literally either draw a picture or have a picture of someone in mind every single time we make any sort of content push on our social. So, for example, you could say like, my avatar is Anna. She is, between the ages of 25 and 40, XYZ. You could go into her age and her interests, into her family life, everything. So every single time you would make a post on your social media, it's like you're talking to Anna, right? So that's important for you to know. And if that's something you've never done before, that's a really cool activity to really think about who is it that I'm talking to, and think about that person every time. So the second thing is it a good time to post, right? You have to ask yourself, is this a good time to post? If you're cruising your social media at like 1:30 in the morning, there's probably not that many people on at 1:30 in the morning. Probably not the best time to make a social media post. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we go. And then of course, what is the ultimate message that you want people to receive? For those hook posts, those of you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk's jab, 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 right hook. The right hook is sort of your call to action, your invitation type post. In those types of posts, what do you want your ultimate message to be? Are you asking somebody to join your challenge group? Are you asking them to be in, to ask you about Shakeology? Like, what is it that you're wanting? And that needs to be very, very clear. It can't be ambiguous. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into some examples. Hopefully these are helpful. And what I did was I have some screenshots of what I think are some pretty awesome Facebook posts. So hopefully I'm going to get the wheels turning for you, and you guys can jot down some ideas that you can use the whole month long. So in this particular example, I picked P90 because I'm a P90X girl. It's my wheelhouse program. And I do refer a lot of people, prior to Beachbody On Demand All Access, I really pushed a lot of people toward P90. So it's, the precursor workout to P90X, P90 and 21 Day Fix, both of those were like my wheelhouse because they were beginner programs. Right. So let's just use that as an example. Let's say that I'm going to run a P90 challenge group. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself, right, who am I talking to? What type of person is going to be interested in P90? Most likely, as you guys know, it's going to be someone who's a beginner, someone who maybe has had a million reasons to work out but doesn't, someone who might be intimidated by the full P90X, right, if they saw something like that on TV, and people who probably don't have self-motivation. So we're already, all of us coaches are already attracting a certain caliber of individuals that usually, more often than not, are not usually gym goers, right? It's probably why you hear Carl Deichler talk a lot about, you can have BOD instead of the gym. In my opinion, you could have both, but it's just the facts, right? The facts are that most self-motivated individuals, not non-self-motivated individuals, are not going to the gym. So that's who we're talking to in most of our posts. So in this particular case with P90, we're asking ourselves, is this a good time for me to post an invitation? You guys are going to have to play a little bit around with timing. For me, I never used to be a morning person. The baby has changed that for me. So I'm finding that early morning, there is a lot of people on social media, like before work. There's another rush, usually right after work. And then there's another big rush around 9 p.m. I never, ever have had any problems with an invitation post between like 8 and 10 p.m. It's always a really good time frame to post. So think about when you are on your social media. When are you wanting to just cruise your social media? Most likely that's when others are too. I don't know if you guys noticed, there was a crap ton of posts during the Super Bowl. Like people were talking about Lady Gaga, it was all over. You could not keep up with your Facebook. That's a really great time to post, but my 2 cents here is that that's a really great time to post about Lady Gaga. It's not necessarily a really great time to post about your challenge group. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so and then last but not least, what's your ultimate message? In this case, you want them to know that you're someone that they can come to. If they're beginner to fitness, if they lack self-motivation, they might lack a little bit of confidence. So you want them to know that you're here for them and that you're meeting them where they are, right? That you're available to them as a resource. So here's what I see. Fortunately, I feel like our, overarching Sparta Nation team as a whole has gotten really good and a lot better with Facebook posts. I used to see this a lot more than I do now, but a lot of newer coaches you'll find will make posts that are like this. Hey guys, there's a new program that came out. It's awesome. It's intended for beginners to fitness, so anyone can do it. I'm forming a challenge group of people. If you're interested, message me. And this is me being super picky. It's just, and I'm not trying to be. It's just that after 7 years of being in the business, I see this and I'm like, oh, I now understand why the potential customer is not responding to this type of post. The main reason being, first of all, there's no photo, right? Photos and videos capture attention. Also because no one knows what a challenge group is. So if you guys are currently posting and you're talking about your challenge group, the only way people are going to know what that is if you're talking about it, if you're saying challenge group every single time you're talking about your challenge group. I personally say online accountability group, because I feel like that describes what the group is, and it helps people to understand. And I think the word challenge just sounds challenging and hard. So if I'm trying to attract a beginner, it's probably not the language I'm going to go for. Okay. So here's a sample post of what could work. I'm a huge fan of using a lot of photos of yourself or videos of yourself. But even if you feel like, oh my gosh, I look terrible today, I'm not going to do that. You can still find some pretty awesome images that you can use. So I picked one here of these stick figures, and then the actual text as you hopefully you're going to be able to tell, is a little more emotionally connected. Okay, so it says here, it's so easy to be scared. The first time Chris and I did P90X, we put on our training shoes, we got out our new exercise mats, we filled our water bottles, and we pressed play. For the next 60 minutes of the workout, we watched. This is a true story. We didn't do a single move after the warm-up. We literally found ourselves likely looking defeated before we started, and we were humiliated that we had gotten to where we were. So trust me when I say I know where you are. Lucky for me, I now have a tool in my toolbox that can work for you, that you'll enjoy doing, and that will start your fitness journey, and that will give you amazing results. It's called P90, and it's brand new. I'm privately coaching a group of individuals who will be doing this and taking that first step to getting healthy. I hope it'll be you. It's not easy to say you're scared, but know this, I've always got your back. Message me to chat. So I'm hoping that you guys see the difference there, right? I'm really trying to connect and talk to this person like friends, as opposed to just a general invitation post. I use the phrase message me to chat because I don't want them to message me if they're interested, because that is going to scare someone into thinking that they have to be ready to buy. So by saying message me to chat, I'm just asking them to have a conversation with me, right? I'm just asking them to send me a quick message. It doesn't have to be a done deal. So out of our vulnerabilities will come our strength. Here are some examples of, I think some of my coaches have done a great job of learning this over the years. I'm not going to read all the posts to you, but you can just kind of get the general gist by looking at this. A few of us had joked around that if we had to see Autumn Calabrese without her shirt on one more time, we were going to lose our, you know what? And so, so my coach Katie was like, you know what? I'm going to kind of make fun of this. And so I thought this was great. I mean, this is my personal opinion. She got really good traction on this particular post. She put a lot of time into the content. There's one thing I do want to point out to you about your post itself. As you can see in this example, her actual content is very well spaced out. Do you see how she's got like the broken paragraphs with the spaces in between? That is just, I don't know about you, but it just attracts me to read it as opposed to just one long, thing of text. So there's one. Here's another one. This is my coach Tara. And this was a really cool spin on her before and after. And I feel like you can't see this, you can't not see this photo in your newsfeed and click like, right? I mean, this is not your average before and after photo. As you can tell, you can see the difference in her confidence. And then I think her content actually says something like that. So it says here, before, I thought moms were supposed to be tired. After, moms deserve to make time to take care of themselves. And as you can see, she got pretty good traction on that too. Mm-hmm. This is another funny one. This was my coach Shauna, whose son put Shakeology in his fill in the blank first grade assignment, which was pretty funny and creative. Abby has gotten really good at doing videos. This video was taken this screenshot was taken over a year ago. And she has gotten even better with her own content as she goes. And so now people just expect her to be like the healthy recipe queen, right? Like she's now using iMovie to edit some videos, showing what she's cooking in the kitchen. So that's part of her brand. I like this one too. This is also Katie's. This is, I think, captures your attention. She's looking at the camera. She's got the graphic that says, because growing boys still need to be carried sometimes. She's a single mom. And so that's something that she's always talking about. She's talking about how she works out so that she can keep up and so that she can kind of be the parent figure for him in all aspects. This is one that I did. And I have a ton of examples here because to me, I like to see examples and it kind of gets my wheels turning as opposed to talking to you guys till I'm blue in the face. But this is just me being, I guess, bossy. And I looked terrible. So you guys, like, photo filters can be your best friend, right? So like, I mean, don't ever feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have any makeup on, I shouldn't do it. I hardly ever have makeup on. I hardly ever look great. And I rely on apps like WordSwag, PhotoFi, Camera Plus. Those are all fantastic ways to cover that up. So in this particular post, you'll see a little bit, you kind of get a little feel for my brand. I think the one thing that most people would say about me is that I typically am pretty brutally honest with my followers. Mm-hmm. to the point where, like I told you before, I've had people even reach out and they're like, I think you're a little harsh. And I just think to myself, well, then that means I'm talking to the right person, because maybe you're just too weak is what I want to say. But, maybe that's me. I don't know. So anyways, but this particular post, I say here, I got up early this morning, leaving for Dallas after a crazy day. You're tired, so am I. You're busy, so am I. You're short on time, so am I. Nobody cares what your excuses are except your future self. Press play, rock on, just do it. So that's maybe not your voice, right? But that's mine. And that tends to work well for me, is to be consistent with that voice. Same thing here. This is obviously showing my excitement. I put this example here to tell you that in my, not only in my experience, but also just in what I'm interested in, I'm more likely to thumb stop when I'm scrolling my phone. I'm more likely to stop on images that catch my attention, and those images usually have creative or expressive facial expressions, right? So like seeing the same selfie, of the same person, like smiling and looking gorgeous, like a million times, like 3 times a day, it's not as interesting to me. And so I try to do like different facial expressions or different poses or different stances every single time I take a photo. So take that for what it's worth. This is just a photo of Chris and I working out together. Again, part of my brand is the fact that I have a supportive spouse who works out with me all the time. So that's something that I'm always posting. So hopefully those quick little screenshots give you guys some ideas to work with. But I want to give you sort of my overarching do's and don'ts for crafting your Facebook content. So the do's are probably more important than the don'ts. So the do's are, make sure you're doing video. You guys live stream. Facebook Live is like it's it right now. And I'm sorry, question?
Yeah, I was going to say, where you were saying about the brand,
yes,
and thinking you're like harsh or whatever, with someone that actually just told me today, until I did my Facebook Live, which I was like nervous to do. He was like, I was afraid that you wouldn't understand where I was coming from. And I'm like, even though I think I portray that in post, that's where the video I think really goes further.
For sure. Yeah. I think it was Shalene Johnson who said, there's really no way to really show people who you are. There's no better way to show than through video, right? Because it's truly authentic, it's transparent. I should share this story with you guys. Last summer, we went to the Marketing Impact Academy Live conference with Shalene, and we were sitting there. And so every day of this conference, talk about intense, she gave us assignments to do each day. And so after the first day, she gave us an assignment we had to listen to her for 3 hours, talk about the importance of Facebook Live, right? So by the end of it, you're like, I don't know what I just sat through, but apparently I need to do live. So she gave us the assignment to, we had to live stream on Facebook before the end of the conference. And she said, I don't care what topic you pick, but you have to do it. And she was like, you have to hashtag. And she gave us like a Marketing Impact Academy hashtag so that she could find us, right? So it was pretty cool because on the last day, she called this lady up on the stage. And this lady was probably, I don't know, you guys, probably like late 70s. Here's this lady. I was just like, my mind was blown. Like, she's at Marketing Impact Academy and she's in her late 70s, right? Like, that's phenomenal. And anyway, Shalene shared the story and she said, on Friday, I gave you guys the assignment to live stream and I want you to meet Martha. She was like, Martha did the assignment, and Martha had never before been on never had done Facebook Live before. And she said, I want to tell you that I searched the hashtag Friday night after the conference was over. She's like, I was in my hotel room and she said, I stumbled upon this thing that says like, Martha so-and-so is live. And she said, I literally clicked on it, and she said, the first thing I see, you can picture Shalene telling this story. She's like, the first thing I see is like, I'm looking up Martha's nostrils. So she's like, all I see is like, it's obviously that she's like new. She's brand new to Facebook Live, right? And she goes, and it's obvious that it's going to be a train wreck. So she goes, so then I'm hooked, right? So Shalene is sharing the story about how she gets hooked on Martha's Facebook Live. And so anyway, so Martha's like, I don't really know what I'm doing. but I'm at Marketing Impact Academy with Chalene Johnson, and Chalene Johnson has told me that I have to do this. So here I am. And so Shalene's telling the story. And so anyway, she starts off by saying, I don't really know what to talk about, so I'm just going to talk about what's on my mind. And she starts talking, you guys, about, she says, I really miss him. And she starts going through this like very emotional recap of something that's reminding her of her husband who had passed away. And she starts telling this story about how he would be really proud of her for being at Marketing Impact Academy and for doing this thing and stepping out of her comfort zone. And Chalene is telling this, you guys, on stage, and she's like sobbing, you know? And she goes, that live stream was terrible. She's like, I looked up this lady's nose for like 15 minutes. She's like, I never did see her face. But she goes, but I was hooked. And that, I tell you that, you guys, because it does prove that transparency and authenticity comes through in video. Doesn't matter if you perfect it or if you have the best lighting or anything else, or if you're wearing the right outfit. It only matters if you're true to you and if you're speaking from your heart. So I love that you said that, Dana, because I think it's so true. And I loved that story, and it made me, like, hearing that made me think, okay, if this 70-some-year-old lady can do this, I can do this. Right. I can do this too. So really quickly though, about Facebook Live, something that I've had success with, I've been doing it more on my like page, is I every once in a while will pull out the Fixate cookbook and the containers for whatever reason. And I don't know if it's because people are familiar, you know, it's kind of like the new P90X, like people know what 21 Day Fix is. They see the infomercials. I think the containers are intriguing to people. So whenever I bust those out on Facebook Live, people ask questions. And so that's something that if you're not doing that, it's almost like having the props of the containers and the cookbook is what gets people to tune in. So I'll offer that tip too. Okay, so photos of yourself, video, live stream. So the order is Facebook Live is number 1 as far as what gets seen the most. And then other video, so pre-recorded video that you upload is number 2. And then photos is number 3. So that's how the algorithm works with Facebook as of right now. So, okay, so you're proving that the products work for you. You're proving that personal development works for you. Before you make your post, you want to make sure that you read it to make sure there's no glaring mistake or that you are coming across the way that you think that you are. If it's not, like if you this happens to me all the time. I'll write a post and I think it's amazing. And then I post it and I get like 4 likes and 2 of them are my aunts. And so I end up, I'm like, you know what, it wasn't as good as I thought. So I just go back and I delete it, and that's okay. And you can maybe just save it for later and try it again, or you can just chalk it up to being a bad post. I personally don't keep anything on my personal Facebook page unless it gets over 20 likes or unless I really like it. So if it's a picture of my baby that didn't go over well, I'm probably going to keep it, but they usually go over well. But you know what I mean? Like you have to treat it like it's your storefront, and you want to have good content there. You want to make sure that what you're posting is making a difference. So your most impactful posts, we used to have a highlight feature on Facebook, which now we don't have. If you have raise your hand if you have a Facebook like page. Do you have a Facebook like page? Okay. Are you guys using it? Are you live streaming from it?
I used to when I first started live streaming, I was live streaming from there, and I hardly got any views. So when I live streamed me today, which my regular Facebook page is completely public. So
yeah. So it's funny because I don't know if you guys were at the Melanie Mitro thing that we had in Indy recently, but I think she hit the nail on the head that I personally don't think it really matters which page you go with. But it makes sense that unless you're willing to invest money to build up the likes and the followership on your like page, then the viewership isn't going to be as high as it would be on your personal page. Right. So in my opinion, it's totally fine to live stream and to focus your business on your personal page if you're okay with that. Mm-hmm. If you're okay with that, there is exceptional value to a like page if you do want to invest that dollar. You know, if you want to invest some money into building it and to targeting ads and all that sort of thing, which is sort of its own topic entirely. But in my opinion, just pick one and go with it. Just pick one and go with it. Cool. Okay. Appropriate spacing. We talked about, spacing out your paragraphs when you're writing your text. Make sure that you're inviting more than once. I had a new coach ask me today. He was like, I posted about my challenge group last week and I didn't get any interest. So should I post it again? Or does it mean it's probably not going to go well? And I was like, no, you got to post it again. So for this month, for Team Cup month, it's okay, you guys, to post one invite a day. Mm-hmm. Why not, right? Like, you're making a big push for Team Cup. Hopefully you have other content out there, not just one post a day that's your invite. But in my opinion, you know, I know all of your, I see your faces, I know your names. Like, I know you guys are posting stuff all the time about being proof the products work and your Shakeology and all that. Why not put out an invitation each and every day? I think that's totally fine, personally. So, and then of course, be real, be you, stay authentic to that. Here's your don'ts. Take them for what they are. Obviously, you guys know, don't ever post your Beachbody website in any case ever. I don't even send people to my website. I only use the Coach mobile app. I never send people to my website. It's just too much of a cluster. Right. Don't copy people's posts. Don't brand yourself as a Beachbody coach. I've actually had a couple coaches on my team that have been like not permitted to join those like hobby groups because they have Beachbody coach in their about section. Oh. So I think it's, you know, health and fitness coach or whatever is fine, but for whatever reason, I guess that's something that can be a turnoff. Okay, so don't post about anything negative or anything that's not in agreement with your brand. Don't post someone else's photo without their approval. If you guys can get your challengers or coaches to give you permission to use a photo that they have or a photo that they've put in the My Challenge tracker or, you know, a testimonial, that is gold. That is like liquid gold, right? Like live streaming and testimonials, right? Like if you could just do those all the time, like your business is going to explode. Okay, so don't copy the same post from your personal page to your like page. Just pick what page you're going to go with and roll with it. And then the most important thing that I probably have to mention is to not neglect the comments. So this is really cool, and this is something that I learned more details about this weekend. But there's a coach by the name of, and I'm going to forget her name, I bet. I blame baby brain. Her name is, it's not Sarah Molnar. Stephanie Richardson, maybe? Anyways, she was interviewed, and this video was shared with me today. She was interviewed, and in the video, she was asked, you know, what sets her apart from other elite coaches? And her answer was, well, I think I just talk to more people every day than the average coach. And so the guy interviewing her was like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, elaborate. Like, how many people do you talk to a day? And she said, I literally, in some form or fashion, I literally converse with 30 to 50 people per day. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so then I'm hooked in this video. So I'm like, what? Like, there's no way. And so the guy doing the interview he literally says, there's no way. There's no way you're talking to that many people, so you're going to need to give us more details. So then she goes into the details of saying that she literally does not neglect a single comment on her own posts. So if you think about that, right, if you're making 2 to 3 posts a day and you're getting some comments, you're thinking, well, that's probably an easy, you know, few people that you could reach out to and just start a conversation. I loved what Carl Deichler had to say today on the National Wake Up Call, which was that instead of worrying about closing sales, we should be worrying about opening conversations and opening relationships. I think that's what she's doing. Based on the interview that I heard, she's literally reaching out to everybody who commented. She's clicking like on their comments, right? Which gets you better visibility in the newsfeed. She's also reaching out to them privately. But here's the cool thing. She said that she's also reaching out to people and she's commenting on their pages. So in other words, somebody posts a picture of their cute dog. She's commenting and saying, what a cute dog on the photo. She's doing those types of things 30 to 50 times a day on 30 to 50 different people's posts. By doing that, Facebook recognizes her and Maria or Susie Q as having a good relationship. So they therefore start to boost her content into that person's newsfeed. Right. Okay. So that's it's known. It's called the Facebook algorithm the relationship algorithm. So you can actually search it and you can learn some more details on that. Cool. But I think that's pretty cool that, you know, that this business doesn't really have to mean that you're reaching out with some sort of like cold sale or script to every person that you're talking to. It's more important that you're engaging with people who are choosing to engage on your own content, and that you're also reaching out and making that connection on other people's stuff too, so that your content does then populate their newsfeed. Because the average invitation post that you guys are posting about your challenge group is being seen by less than 10% of your Facebook friends. So if you have 1,000 Facebook friends, less than 100 people are even seeing it, right? So you have to post it more than once. That's part of the consistency thing, but you'll also have to be willing to find a way to get that seen by more people. And it's only going to be seen by more people if you're engaging on other people's stuff. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yes, very much.
The other thing, Jenny, I don't know if you agree with this, but about posting before and afters, before left. Like, I hate it when, because it makes people have to think. You have to think for a split second, is that really before or after? Like, obviously, you know, you're not going to post a picture, but let's just do it how, like, the mind naturally works. Like, people don't want to think.
Right.
You don't want to make people think, oh, I don't know. Is that before and after?
Yeah. I mean, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll probably never see me. I don't very often post very many before and afters. And Erin Young and I are success partners, and she's on me about this all the time, because she's like the before and after queen, you know, like she's always posting hers. And so I don't know why I don't do it. I really don't. I just think it doesn't come to the top of my mind. Like, so for me, I just want to make sure that I am emotionally connecting with people. And this is just my personal feeling. I feel like if I'm doing too much of the before and after physical posts, like the traditional before and afters, that I could be sending the wrong message. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to send the message of like physical transformation. I mean, I do, but I'm more interested in helping people, you know, have the confidence, or helping people have the personal growth opportunity, or I guess that's just my own personal difference. So, you know, I mean, I think that you cannot be a Beachbody coach and not utilize testimonials or before and afters. So it's not like I never do it, but I definitely don't do it as often. I try to instead choose things that I can share that might connect with more of a deeper why. I have a coach on my team that just asked yesterday, she's like, I'm looking to start making posts that are like recruiting posts, you know, like join my team type posts. And she goes, I need some help figuring out how to craft a post like that. And so my question back to her was, like, she was wanting, I think she wanted me to write one for her. And so I wrote her back and I was like, well, let's just start with you answering this question. What do you specifically like most about coaching? And so she wrote back with, you know, 7 or 8 things that she really liked. And so then we dove a little bit deeper, and I said, okay, of those 7 or 8 things, can you tell me a story about a few? So one of her things, of course, was like meeting people that she never would have met before and making some of her best friends in the business. So when I asked the question, okay, well, you know, can you tell me a story about that? She automatically went into the story about how she met another coach on my team and how they had connected through a challenge group, and they both joined the team at the same time, and blah, 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 right? That's a great Facebook post. Like, that's great content for a Facebook post, because let me tell you, people are out there, people want friendships and recognition more than they want that 6-pack, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So that's what I try to reach out and attract people to first.
Well, and I think they feel like, at least what I feel like is they think it's like, oh yeah, they praise you for having, which is awesome. But then it's kind of like they feel sometimes like you're not relatable.
Right.
More so, you know.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, and like I said, I think it's obviously important to use it. And I probably need to do it more than I do. But to me, there's just, I've gotten so much more out of coaching than just my physical transformation. So I never think about it. It never comes to the top of my mind like other things do.
Right. I feel like it's like we talk about with coaches where Shakeology is just ingrained. You're like, of course I have Shakeology every day, or of course I have a physical transformation. So you're showing those deeper and deeper layers of how it helps you be a better mom or a better wife, or the community you've created, and then you have to just remind yourself of the before and afters. And something that's helped me, and it seems to get good traction, is because I feel similarly to Jenny, especially because I'm not perfect all the time either. Because like, okay, that was my after during a really on point time, and now I'm kind of chilling a little bit. So it's kind of like, let's be real. But the what I did was an album with our team. So, and Caitlin kind of spearheaded this. We're like, hey, we have a portfolio of all our before and afters. And when I add my photo or a new coach's photo or a challenger's photo to the album, it posts just similarly to that unique post if you add it, but then it like helps people look at one and then flip through the other ones and just see all of the traction that not just one before and after has created, but similar, like all of them. So anyway, I'm similar to Jenny in that, if you can post it every so often, especially if you're helping people. And then Jenny clearly really broke down how you can create a before and after and then create that content, which is key attached to it.
Yeah, I've seen, I wish I had, let me see if I can, I'm not going to say, I'll look at when we're done. Okay. But I have a diamond coach on my team who did an amazing before and after. If I can find it, I'll screenshot it and send it to you, Maria, after.
Awesome.
But anyways, she had dealt with an eating disorder through high school and college and had jumped on board in a 21-day fix group of mine. And she did this before and after, and it just like blew my mind. Her before photo was her, I think in college. And I mean, she had like some sort of like little, like, I don't know, like tie top, midriff.
Right.
And she had this like flat belly, like super tan. And that was when she had been struggling with an eating disorder. And then her after photo was her now, which was probably like 40 pounds heavier with a smile on her face. And her content was what mattered.
Right.
I mean, her content was all about like, you probably saw this photo and thought my photos were swapped. Right. And so she did this whole, like, turned it on its head. Like,
nice.
And I love that. And so I don't know, in my opinion, I think it's just, it just connects to someone more when you do something different. You know what I mean? Like when you do something different than I'm not saying do something different than what Beachbody's doing, because obviously what they're doing is working. And it is good to share every once in a while I will share the fact that I've lost 30 pounds,
right.
And I will share that authentic thing, but I also think it's cool to mix it up a little bit. And
totally.
I think it's cool to share different types of before and after stories.
That's such a great point. And it forces us to think outside the box, which clearly it works. So thank you for breaking that down.
Sure. Yeah. So I really only have one other thing, which is, hopefully, if nothing else, you guys feel confident in your posts that they're making a difference and that they're adding value to people in some way. Some days, I just want to post something that makes people laugh. Or if I'm not feeling super creative, I'm going to have a stockpile of images that I've saved in my phone that I can just pull up so that I have something populating the newsfeed, right? So sometimes it's as simple as that. Other times I'm really going to sit down and I'm going to craft something that means something. I made a post, I don't know, it was like Friday or Saturday night, all about adoption. It's something that's obviously near and dear to my heart, and it's something that I just felt like I needed to share. Had nothing to do with Beachbody, but I do believe that authenticity and that deeper level of emotional connection allows people and will allow people to feel more comfortable reaching out to me as a resource for health and fitness because they feel like they know me. Does that make sense? So hopefully everything that you're sharing in some way adds value or pertains to your brand, or it teaches people about you, right? So at the end of the day, that's what the whole point of this was. So I hope you got that from this. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer, or if you want to talk about anything more in depth. But hopefully you've got some ideas or some, you're thinking of some things that you can share. Have you guys all read the book? Well, any of Gary Vaynerchuk's are good. He has 3. He has Crush It, he has Jab, 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 Right Hook, and he has, the new one is the Ask Gary V.
Right.
Those are all good. And then the other one I usually recommend people, which is sort of lesser known, is called Contagious by Jonah Berger. I think. He has a free resource on his website called the Contagious Continuum or something like that, and it's a really cool thing to download. You have to put your email address in to get it, but it's worth it.
Cool. I have a question, and then I'd love to hear what I'm sure you guys do. And I'm just speaking from experience. There's times where my mind is just super creative and emotional. It tends to be after a workout, and it's thoughts I've thought, or like, do you channel, are there certain times of day or things that ignite you to post that authenticity?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel the same way. I mean, I definitely have moments where I'm like, oh, I could write anything right now and rock it. You know what I mean? Like, and then there's other times where I'm like, okay, I'm going to post this picture of a taco or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Like sometimes you're just like, it's mind numbing and you just have to make a post.
Right.
I will say that like in those creative moments, I mean, I've learned enough about myself to know that I'm more creative in the evening. Like I'm more of a night owl. So usually like Chris goes to bed super early because he's a school teacher. And so he goes to bed by 10. That's early to me. And so I stay up for another 2 or 3 hours. And if I'm feeling creative, like I will literally just pull up either the notes section on my phone or a blank email, or if I want to get on the computer, you know, and I'll just come up with a few different things that I want to share. And then that way I have them so that if there is a moment where I'm not feeling super creative, I can just pull one from there.
Totally. Cool. I have a lot of questions. So if you guys want to, if anybody else wants to rotate, I could talk to Jenny all day. One more thing that before I forget, when you do your, so helpful, when you are doing your avatar, do you ever change up your avatar for like the programs or what you're trying to launch, like coach versus intro?
Yeah. Yeah. For the most part, I would say like 90% of the time I'm talking to the same person.
Mm-hmm.
I have a coach on my team who I actually just shouted out tonight. She and I were college roommates. Her name is Abby Rom.
Mm-hmm.
And we're good friends. And to me, she has the characteristics of, I mean, she started off as a challenger and she was a rock star challenger in my challenge group. And then now she's my top leader coach. Mm-hmm. So most of the time when I make a post, like I'm thinking about her or someone like her.
Sure.
So I actually do have like someone in mind when I'm making most posts, but like not necessarily her in mind if I were to make like that P90 post. You know what I mean? Like she probably wouldn't be interested in that. Right. So there are other times where, you know, most of my clients at the studio are like middle-aged men, like 40 to 50-year-old men who want to do P90X. So I kind of just channel that, you know what I mean? Like if I'm talking more to a male or if I'm talking more about Tony Horton or something, like I'll channel more of that. Totally. But that's very rare. Most of the time I am talking to the Abby avatar. Right.
And something that I heard you say when you're saying like your beginner P90 person, it sounds like you really channel how you felt and where you were because that was your program. So that's how I look at it for me. My beginning insecure young, I very much am a 13-year-old girl when I'm talking, even though I'll put it in context of like a busy working mom or whatever it is, but you just envision maybe even yourself if you're struggling with a person. Right. So yeah, cool.
Well, yeah. And you know what? I mean, it used to be a lot harder, I think, than it is now because we used to have to target people toward a program and now we have the all access.
Right.
So, you know, like, I mean, I had a conversation today with a guy who was like, what should my next program be? And so I was like, I don't know, try P90. And I was like, do it for 2 days. And if you hate it, let me know and I'll give you something else. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're stuck with a DVD set that they have to do. So, so yeah, so I think it's a little bit different now, but for me, now that my focus now, you know, I want to continue to be an elite coach. I want to continue to build diamond leaders. Like I have, you know, the same goals every year. And so in order for me to keep working toward that, I'm looking most of the time at, okay, who is going to make an engaged challenger convert to coach, right? Like what person am I thinking of who's going to rock a challenge group? They're going to get it. The switch is going to go on and they're going to love that experience and they're going to want to pay it forward. Like I think that many steps ahead when I'm making a post about my challenge group. Right. So most of the time that's not going to be the middle-aged man, but every once in a while I might throw that in just to see what I get.
Just never know. That one guy will change the game for you.
Yeah, I had like 2 guys join my team last week out of nowhere, and I was like, "What do I do? They're men. Like I don't know what to do with men coaches."
It's so funny.
It needs to be a webinar.
Yeah.
Next couple of questions. One is, well, one thing that I realized is if I just reach out to someone and just say hey in a message, you know, point something out for their page, like Marie and I talked about this, it goes much further than if I, you know, send them something about a group or, you know, just because I think of how I feel when I get all those messages from people, not that that's wrong. I support people that, you know, work their business, but I didn't realize that it kind of comes across as lazy. Like you clearly are just copying, pasting this to me. so even though it takes a little longer to get to the point, one, and then two, my question to go along with that is, if I invite them to an event, like, for my next challenge group, how should I reach out to them personally and make it feel, you know what I mean? I know I can still kind of say, hey, but I don't know.
Yeah. How do you translate that into your messaging? That's a good question.
Say that again, Maria.
What Dana is asking is like, you do such a good job with the attraction marketing, but then you could totally lose them with being like, hey girl, which I hate. Hey girl. But
right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay. So,
or like you know how you invite them on Facebook or whatever, like you can just invite.
Yeah.
And then like, that's what I'm kind of referring to.
Yeah. Then, I mean, I haven't been using the Facebook event feature. I mean, I know Erica's a big fan of that. I haven't been doing that. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you how I treat my business. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Chris gets on me for this because at the end of this year, he was like, he's like my numbers guy, right? So we were making our big push for Elite at the end of the year, and he was like, he got really upset, and he was like, do you know what? He's like, if this is the level of success that you're seeing in your business and you don't even actively seek people out, he's like, do you know what would happen if you did? And I share that with you guys because I don't hardly ever message somebody to invite them. And it's terrible to tell you guys because you just asked me to speak on this. But that's why I think that I'm qualified to speak to you about the power of the Facebook post, because that's how I'm getting Success Club 10 every month, and that's how I'm recruiting coaches, and that's how I'm building my business, because I work really hard at making sure that my challenge group is amazing. Right. Like most of my day and most of the meat of my power hour is going into making sure that the actual group is perfection. Right. We're running a group right now, which is a Beachbody On Demand. Chris and I sat down and created a Beachbody On Demand hybrid calendar for runners training for the half marathon, for the mini marathon and the Geist half. That's just something that we decided to do. And so I put a lot of time into creating that calendar. I put a lot of time into marketing it. My coaches are welcome to be in the group too. We have like over 40 people in the group. And so every single day I'm making sure that my lead posts are awesome, that I'm engaging with every single person in that group, that I'm following up with people who aren't checking into that group. And I think what happens, or what I see with my coaches, is they're more focused on getting people to make the sale, to make the sale. They're wanting to make sure that they get people who buy the challenge pack, and then they sort of like don't give them the most amazing experience. If you give people an amazing experience, then you're going to have tons of referrals. You're going to have tons of people, following you on your social media. Like it's a totally different concept. And that's how I treat my business. Like I literally at the end of 30 days, I'll reach out to those same exact people and see if they have anybody else that might be interested in the challenge group with me. I do a lot of referrals. I upgrade a lot of customers to coaches. And so for me, it's like, I just don't ever reach out to people. I probably should. I just never reach out to people personally. I have a lot of people who reach out to me from seeing my Facebook posts. And that's because I do a lot of commenting on their stuff. That's a cute dog. What kind is it? Oh my gosh, your baby's so cute. Like those sort of like, and I mean it. I really do mean it. Like I really won't tell you your baby's cute if I don't think he is, right? Like I'll find another picture to comment on. Right. But I'm being really real, and I'm telling people, like, I'm commenting so that I do get that viewership in my own content. So I don't know. So I'm not really super credible to answer you, but I will tell you that if it feels icky, it probably is. So if you are sending some sort of copy and paste message, or if you've sent the Facebook event and you're wanting to send a follow-up message or a private message, my advice is to do everything in your power to make it so that the conversation isn't icky in advance. You know what I mean? Like build up that relationship with them and the trust that you have with that person so much so that you can be like, hey, by the way, I thought of you today. Would you be interested in my next group? Right? Like you want it to be a natural, organic flow into the invite as opposed to just sort of like the cold sale invite. I don't know if that answers your question, but
yeah, no, that makes sense. And it definitely, like when I've reached out and just like it's not been to people that I haven't been, like you said, at least liking some of their stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll reach out and I'll just make it all about them. And sometimes it doesn't go any further. Like if they, you know what I mean? If they're not really asking much, I'm not going to say, because to me that feels fake. Like, oh, you just gave me a compliment so that you could sell me on something. Right. Like, so whenever it feels, and I just try to put myself in their shoes, and I I'm kind of like how you are, Jenny. Like I know how I feel when I get those messages.
Right.
And it just is like, all right, I'm busy. I don't need to read your 12-page thing that you clearly sent to everyone else.
Right.
You know, I've done that before, and I've done mass invites, and it doesn't really work. Right. Because the people that are responding are people that are, like you said, engaging. And it is true over time, like how much more I've gotten on my content.
Yeah. You guys know that there's like this token thing that people say, like, so once you become consistent in posting about your shakes and your workouts and your personal development, there's this thing that starts to happen where people start to comment with the phrase, "I wish I had your motivation." Yes. You guys seen this? So like, it's a for real thing. Like I have new coaches that are like, "Oh my gosh, all these people are telling me they wish they had my motivation, energy."
Yeah.
And so that is the perfect lead in, right? So what I say back is I comment back and say, "You don't need my motivation. You just need my tools."
Ooh.
And so I do that for everybody that says that. And then I send a private message.
Right.
And I'm like, that's when I might pull out the like, "Girl, you don't need my motivation," and I start the conversation there.
Right.
I loved what Carl, I don't know if you guys heard it yet or not, but today he talked about asking the right questions to facilitate sort of like self-awareness on behalf of the customer. And that's, I think, what we want. So, asking questions like, what is your ultimate goal? Or what does your current nutrition look like? Those are things that once we know they're interested, we can ask to dig deeper. But it's all about making that person realize that they need what you have or that they want what you have before you just hope that they want what you have, because that's going to feel weird.
That's awesome. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. This is such amazing meat. I don't know if you guys feel like you can really dig into it and use it, or just, I love talks like this and they just make you want to go on a Facebook Live and be super authentic. It like just motivates you into action. But Melissa or Caitlin, did you have anything that came to mind? I know you guys are gobbling up the information. Caitlin's trying to say something maybe, or no? No? Just thinking.
Don't be shy.
It's so loud here, so I'm always afraid to unmute myself. You never know what's going to happen in this house.
How many kids? 5 or 4? I always think it's like 6, like my family 4.
4, yes. But 2 dogs, that adds like 3 more kids in quantity, I feel. So, yeah. But I'm just kind of curious. So I wouldn't be considered new. I guess I've been doing this for almost 2 years now. I just kind of get to points when I'm back in my full-time job, I kind of pull back. But now I'm getting to the point where I'm getting that traction and I feel there's a definite pull going here. It's just I think where I'm lacking is what I'm doing with my new coaches. What do you do? Like, do you bring them into your bigger team, or can you remember from your standpoint what you really did to kind of push towards that next gear with your set?
With my new coaches and stuff like that?
Yeah,
I can tell you what I do currently, which is the same as what I've been doing for the last 2 years, which I hit like my business where like I sat at Diamond for almost 3 years and I couldn't personally figure out what I needed to do. Like I was like, I don't understand. Like I'm following the vital behaviors, right? Like they tell you all you have to do is drink the shake and press play, and I'm doing that. And so then I realized that it came down to like I obviously wasn't helping enough other people succeed, and I wasn't helping enough other people get what they wanted out of the business opportunity, right? Like I had Rockstar Challenge groups, but I wasn't doing that same thing with my team. And so I had to put a little bit of focus there. What I do is, so I sat down 2 years ago and I went through the Beachbody Coach Basics training that they have. And I don't know about you guys, I haven't looked at it lately, but it's like 60 days or something ridiculous. And most of the content is redundant. So like once a week they talk about personal development, once a week they talk about whatever. So I just took the general topics that are covered in Beachbody's manual for Coach Basics, and I decided that I was going to, I think there's literally 7 topics, like 1 per day for like 20 weeks or whatever it is. And so I just decided I was going to create a video of myself for each of those topics. because my coaches were joining my team for me. Like they didn't want to necessarily hear about the grocery bagger Louie or whatever that video is that's in Coach Basics, right? Like they want to hear from me. And so I put together my own Coach Basics training series. It's nothing fancy. It's 7 videos. And I tell people you can watch them all in one day, and it's like 15 minutes of your time, or you can space it out into 7 days, and it's 2 or 3 minutes of your time. So every new coach gets a welcome email from me. The welcome email has a link to their Beachbody website. It tells them what their coach ID is. Everything that I used to get asked a million times by new coaches, I decided to put all that into one thing so that I didn't have to regurgitate it a million times. And I send that same welcome email to my new coaches. I attach a questionnaire that asks them for, why they're interested in the business. It's kind of like just a basic about me form. From there, they have to complete Coach Basics before we have our first conversation. So that's how I treat all of my new coaches. So if I have a new coach who has told me they just want the discount, awesome. I'm still going to welcome them to my team page with a photo. I'm going to identify them. I'm never going to say they're a discount coach, but I'm going to identify them to the team as someone who's just kicking it off with 21 Day Fix and Shakeology, right? Or kicking it off with BOD All Access. And then I say in that same post in the team page, I say, Susie, if you ever decide you want to pay this opportunity forward, this is where you're going to want to plug in. That same coach, regardless of whether they want to work it or not from day one, they get the same welcome email with the same about me form. And they get the same password to my video training, which is actually findable on YouTube, but they think it's fancy. So it's they get the password to my video training, and I ask them to complete that before we have a call. Why? Because I used to do a ton of new coach calls, and all I did was answer the same questions on how do I generate a challenge, right? Like the same exact thing. So I just decided to cover all of that in my videos, and that's the magic. And I think, you know what, like if you're ready for the next level in your business, no matter what that looks like, if you take a look at what elite coaches do, like what are the top coaches doing? The top coaches are finding ways to maximize their time. So they're finding ways to, have a training series that's on video, or I know I have a diamond coach who has just, all she does is just a welcome video. And she sends the welcome video in her welcome email and then directs people to my Coach Basics training, right? So she doesn't even do the Coach Basics training. So you could even find like Janelle Summers Coach Basics training and send people to that. But just have a system that you just follow with each person. And the more, disciplined you are with that, and the more consistent you are with that, you'll start rocking that. I also think, and sorry, I could talk about this all day. Like we could have this call till midnight and I'd be fine with it. So the other cool thing about, or I guess the other thing to just mention to you guys is how much mindset plays a role in kind of upping to the next level too. So like deciding that you're going to now become an Emerald machine. Like I remember having a moment in my business where I was like, okay, like I'm sick of defending my diamond rank. So clearly I keep losing emeralds. So that needs to be my focus. Like I need to just start bringing more emeralds in. So I decided to become an Emerald machine. I led Emerald training groups, right? I started to get really good at onboarding new coaches. And that's how I started to see some momentum. Then I just decided 2 years ago, like, why am I setting the benchmark so low, right? Like I should have a non-negotiable mindset shift of creating diamonds. So I changed my mentality to say, okay, like if Emerald was easy to help people do, why can't I make that easily doable for diamonds too? So then I started kind of upping my game with that. Does that make sense? So I think it's kind of just like wherever you are in the business, you have to think like, okay, what's my upline doing that's working, and do I need to copy it? Because, and I don't know, like for some of you, this might be the case. I told my diamonds this year, I was like, you're no longer allowed to participate in the Body Electric business opportunity webinars or sneak peeks, because you guys need to be doing it.
Right.
You guys need to be doing your own, right? So like, that's just an opinion thing on my end, but like, I mean, they just need to be doing their own. Like they have to fly, you have to spread your wings and fly. Same thing for webinars. They say to me, well, I can't lead my own team webinar. I'll have like 2 people on, or I'll have 1 person on. And I'm like, how do you think I started?
Right.
Yeah, right.
I led a bajillion calls by myself and my husband because I wanted to just practice. Like I'd hop on, nobody was on, so I just do it anyway and record it. So I think you just have to start doing the next level before you're ready for it. And if you know that you need to get better at starting new coaches, just decide, right? Decide what do I got to do? I got to have a system. I got to start focusing on getting people to Emerald. This is how I'm going to do it.
Well, and the other thing too, Jenny, with sending the videos, or like I send a welcome email, and then I've had people that decide they want me to resend it and they're interested in it, and then I kind of leave it to them. Like, if you said you're interested, then show me, and if you're not, then I'm not going to hound you, because you can't. And I like realized you just have to kind of just keep going and just keep adding.
Yep.
It's so easy to think you're going to have one superstar coach, and then you can't leverage that on them.
Yep. No, I mean, my coaches laugh. I just did a webinar for my team in January called How We Roll. And it was all about like how our team onboards new coaches and how we just do things, right? Mm-hmm. And so they were all kind of laughing at me, but I told them, I said, if I have somebody, this happens all the time. Like if I have somebody that says to me, they're a brand new coach, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to sit down and talk to you, right? Like, let's go to lunch. I no longer do lunches or coffees with any of my new coaches, because it's inevitable, but like 3 months down the road, like they can't afford their Shakeology anymore and they're going to quit or whatever. So I don't do it until I can definitely establish who my runners are. And then I'll have lunch with you, right? So, and I don't say that to sound mean, but like my time is valuable. So what I do is I send that About Me form, and 30% of the time I get a response back with the About Me form, and then we move forward. I say, awesome, complete Coach Basics. As soon as you finish Coach Basics, let's have a one-on-one call. And then we have our first call, right? And we set up some sort of communication from there on. But 70% of the time I have this happen. Oh my gosh, like I can't wait to get started. We need to talk. Like, when should we talk? When should we have a phone call? And I say, as soon as you send me that About Me form, I would love to talk to you. And then like a week later, I know, we really need to talk. I think my aunt's going to order. Do you have time today for me to call you? I'm like, I would love to talk to you as soon as you send me that About Me form, right? And the About Me form is super basic, you guys. It's really just asking them why they're interested in coaching. But it's so important because it gives you something to bring back to them later and say, remember, this is why you trusted me to be your mentor. This is why you signed up. So I hold that like it's gold. That's awesome. And I don't give my time until they work for it.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like I've had a coach ask me like 3 different times, because I put their coach ID right in there. Mm-hmm. And like I've had her ask me multiple different times, and I just keep sending her back there. I'm like, I don't memorize your coach ID. I don't know. It would take me the same amount of time to go look it up.
Right. No, I spend a lot of my time either sending people the videos that I've done that address the same things, or sometimes I will, if they ask me a really basic question, I will Google it, and I'll screenshot me Googling it and send it back to them.
Maria, that's our go-to. Google.
So true. I literally Google everything.
No, I'm just saying, like, because none of us have all the answer, like, and that's what people need to realize too. Maybe sometimes it's good to send like, hey, I'm Googling this just the same way you would be.
No, every time I do that, they write back and say, oh my gosh, yeah, I guess I could have Googled it. And then they never send me another question like that again. So it works.
Nice. Well, that's awesome, Jenny. I know you've been on plenty of calls, and your energy and just your content. And I've always loved that about Jenny, just her authentic, everything she translates in her posts is literally how she is in person. And so she's really manifested that skill, and I appreciate her sharing that with us. And I'll share the recording. And again, you can hear all this stuff all day long, but what's cool is you could literally log onto her timeline and see how she does it in this space. Everything she says, she walks the walk. And so hopefully, did you guys find this helpful, useful?
Yes. Thank you, Jenny, very much.
Yes. Thank you.
We so appreciate it. And we will see you soon. And I look forward to seeing all of their content come alive with authenticity.
Awesome. Well, I just hope you guys know how awesome of a leader you guys have in Maria. And I'm excited for her to talk on my team call soon.
Yeah. I'm glad you spearheaded this.
Yeah. So cool. You guys, thank you so much for your time. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
All right. I'll post a recording tomorrow, and thanks for being on.